All right, hey guys, my name is Eve.
My name is Alois Rubasha.
Welcome to the Rubashafamily
Podcast.
This is our podcast, baby. You feel me? The number one podcast in Australia. So, Dad, how does it feel being a podcaster?
Yeah, I'm so excited at least to create this new venture. As a family, it's good things to start with in life.
Yeah. No, it feels good. It definitely feels good. And even when you brought up the whole idea, when I came home that day and you were like, let's just start a podcast. Let's bring conversations that we go when we're talking with aunties, we're going with friends, like everyday conversations to have as father and son. And I think it can help people in the community, no matter where you're from, background. We just here to just talk what we talk about.
Yes, because you see, when you listen to other podcasts, they're talking about their experience and what you live, everything there. So now I realize every person have his own experience. Our experience we could share. Each of us, we have different experience to share.
It's true. It's a blessing. One of the conversations we wanted to talk about, me and you, was this whole aspect of culture.
Yes. So most of the time that's what we're thinking about, especially when you say African culture. So when you say African culture, what do you mean? And as you remember, for me, my background from Rwanda, I'm from Kenya. So when we immigrate with our culture.
But hold on. Okay, so we talk about culture. There's different cultures, different nationalities. What does culture mean to you?
So for me now, that's why always I used to think culture is what is we have been taught since we are children to do when you're African, the way you behave, the way you carry yourself, and the things you should do, the things you should not do. But as we grow, when change changing, but we can see the culture, it doesn't change, it's still the same. So, of course, when I say culture, like the food, the music, or the entertainment, which is dealing with you, is something there. But the problem is when the culture, it could stop you to do something.
Okay, so for example, can you give me an example of, like, let's say some things in the Rwandese culture that you grew up, like, it was kind of just programmed into you as, like, this is that culture, this is what we do as Rwandese people? Any examples?
Yeah, but for me, I can't remember exactly example to be particular. But at least I say, like, for example, if a girl was wearing miniskirt, in Rwanda they could say, oh, even me, I could tell my sister, oh no, don't wear like that. That's not our culture. But later realize, is it wear miniskirt? Is it a culture? Or is it a principle we say somebody should be looking like something like that?
That's yes. A good,
so that's the difference. We came to Australia, you found kids dress the way they do things there, and that's going normal. That is the barrier which I was making me to think, to change, to talk about our culture.
Because it's a big topic. It's a big topic. You know, us, we have the African community as we have here, but then you have African American culture. You know, what's culture over there like? And for me, is like, what are the positives and what are the negatives? I actually want to do something. Let's Google what culture, like the actual definition of culture, right?
My problem is the big question is who wrote that culture? Who said this is the culture? Because when you realize Africa will have different culture in each different country. So who those people who write those cultures?
So the Google definition is the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. So African Caribbean culture, you know, and yeah. So it's those ideas, the actions that contributes to the culture. So what do we have like African culture? Not even African, because I think Africa is it's a continent, you know what I mean? So different countries in Africa, we all have our different behaviors, things that are in the culture. For me, I'll say, like, starting with the positives I see from culture is it gives you that certain things, like the way dancing, eating, the enjoyment as a family, you know, that's always been part of the culture. It's always, I've seen since I've grown up, and I love those type of things, you know what I mean? So you have the positive aspects of the culture, then you have your negative aspects.
Yes, so for me, what I agree, that is the culture. Dancing, food, even fashion.
Yeah, fashion.
Even fashion should be not even a culture. It should be called a fashion.
No, but I think fashion is part of, culture.
Yes. So, but you see what happened now, when you dress like African dress, they say, oh, this is African culture. No, why don't call it fashion? Because the same if you wear a suit or a tie, it's European culture. But they don't call it European culture, they call it fashion.
So yeah,
we
like
have our fashion dress, but it should not be called culture. Culture could be food, special dancing. So that thing can change. Change dancing the way other communities dance, because in Rwanda you have a particular dancing something there. But what I'm trying to say is especially like something is affecting personal. So you see, you immigrant in Australia. So maybe you want to marry somebody, or a girl you want to marry somebody, things there, and you have to pay dowry or something there. If that girl, she say no.
Hey guys, just real quick, I know you're enjoying the video, we're gonna get back to that, but this video is sponsored by Fanatics. Now guys, the reason I've partnered up with Fanatics is not only do I have custom drip, I look fly, the second thing is I get to save money, and that's what I want to give back to you guys. It's always about giving back to the people who come in and support. So guys, you guys can get awesome merch, NBA, NFL, all type of drip at Fanatics. Hit the link in the description. Now guys, there is deals every single day, 65% off, free shipping. The more you wait, the more deals are going to go missing by you, and this is your chance to really save money and get drip at such a good price. As soon as you finish watching this video, click that link, head over to Fanatics and go copy some merch right now. All right, let's get back to the video.
I don't want that. So the family had to impose her
to do it.
To do it.
Yeah.
So I think that is where we look.
I think because even for me, right, like when it comes to the whole traditional marriages, like you see in Kenya, for example, we have the Luya way, Kikuyus, however they, introduce marriage into the family, into the culture. But for me, certain things I kind of like, because it's like, if this is the procedure, or how can I say it, like this is what our ancestors used to do, so it's like following that tradition. So for me, when I look at it, like for example, if I was to marry like my girl or my wife, let's say if I was to marry my girlfriend, and I was told to do those things, for me, because I appreciate the culture and I appreciate the tradition, I would do it. It could be hard, but I would still do it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah, so for me, what my point is, if
they don't
want you to do it, that's fine.
It's fine, yeah.
If somebody else or another daughter or another son, he doesn't want to do it,
yeah.
Let give him that freedom. He doesn't feel it, don't do it. But you see what happened now, we're talking about is we don't want what we call our culture, and then also to immigrate in different countries is going to affect our relationship with our children. That is the main purpose. Yes, your daughter could have different mind against culture or against what we call this should be. We should accommodate that and we'll discuss about that. It be not a barrier or something which makes it to fight off.
Do you think for black people, let's say around the world, you have your in Africa or in America, your African Americans there, let's say even in Africa and even here in Australia, do you think our culture that each person subscribes to, do you think it's empowering our people, or do you think it's dragging us down?
So there's something sometimes it become a paralyzed for the community. So, and when you say like American culture, so if somebody wear what do you call it? Is it a sag?
Like sagging their pants.
Sagging pants. So is it that called a culture? So like now, when I could see like my son, whatever way, for me as African, I feel, oh, that should be not be like.
It's fashion. Maybe that's their fashion sense.
Yes.
So,
but can we call it culture?
That's a good. Yeah, you know why though? I think we can say it is part of the culture is because it's in the music, it's in the fashion sense. But like you see people like, for example, in America sagging their pants. You know what I mean? Like it's for me, it's part of the culture. Like, you know what I mean? The whole fashion sense, like the way in you guys wear whatever how you dress. That maybe that's part of your culture. Sagging is also. So when you see it, you don't like it.
Yes, and then so also you always have to, or is it probably also sometimes good because it's also part of financial, because if we create some things which also bring money, bring income to sell, to do things, then So that's okay. We're going to do equal. Is it, what do you call it?
Equal opportunity.
Equal opportunity boys and girls, but you still have dowry for girls. So how does the equal opportunities going to come?
Do you think boys should get dowry?
No, they should be scrap everything.
Scrap it.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If you want to create equality, you should
scrap it. By the way, guys, dowry. Like, what would you say dowry is when the father pays? No, the
husband, the fiance pay the girl's family, the money to get the girl.
Yeah, to get the girl.
Yeah, so that's the culture.
Yeah, that is culture. That's so old school. Imagine. So it's like, all right, here you get. You know what I'm saying? Here's the bread to marry your daughter.
Yeah. So the problem, the other reason is the culture can change.
Can culture change?
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good question.
Because the life, when you look, the life itself has changed completely.
Yeah. From back in those days when the culture was created, to like things have changed.
Yes, it changed, but the culture doesn't want to change. You want to keep like that. The good things me I like when they say African culture is something like excuse people do. Yeah. So anything which you require restriction. So, this you can do this, or this can do this. That should be no culture. Culture, it should be something everybody enjoy. Everybody having fun, equally. Yes. But when the culture become restricting these people or this gender to do this, that is where we have to look out what is that.
Yeah. That's where we have to work on ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly. So that's why we say, African culture. There's African culture in 52 countries, and each have different tribes. And each tribes, they could be some which they can take a woman without asking anything there. Like, even when we used to Rwanda, you could see a girl go in the bar to have a drink his own by herself. Our cultures don't allow that. But when you go to Kenya, a girl can go
by themselves.
There, and then it goes on the thing there.
Let me ask you, what do you think about African American culture?
It's huge. It's a marketing there. Yeah, because you see, they are powerful. What everybody they produce, young Africans want to follow.
Follows,
and you see, when he follows and is totally against the traditional, what we thought. That's why I say, look, when you see sagging, you see all those things there, you see the way they talk. As African, we are against that.
If you see me sagging my pants, it's like, if you, let's say I walk, because you've seen me, maybe, have you seen me sagging my pants before? I'll sag a little bit. Anyway.
Yes, but I used to see that Ian or Emmanuel do much than you.
Like more?
Yes, but I used to get angry with that.
Or like what made you angry about it?
Because you see, that's why we were taught we are following American culture, and we think American, they don't have African American, they don't have culture because they've been mixed up with the old things there.
But when you see someone sagging their pants, like, why does it not look good to you? Like, what's the...
Yes, before I was thinking, why? Especially like when we go to church and the cycling, we could be crazy. Why did
he used to sag his pants in church?
Yeah, sometimes you could be do that. Not going to church.
Yeah, going to
church. You have to put there.
Okay.
But you wonder why. But you see, it's marketing. If you watch TV and America, everything there,
they're doing it.
Yeah. Now I realize I grow. So it's me nothing.
And the thing is, and that's what, like, for example, Nipsey talked about. He says our culture is contagious. The African, like America in general, the as big as America is, that's everything that we see, right? So, like, especially when it comes to hip hop, blacks, African Americans, their culture is so strong that even you'll find kids in Spain doing things that they see African Americans doing.
That's what I'm saying is, in America there, we shouldn't even call culture. So because you see, there is nothing stop other gender or other tribe to do. Yeah. So the culture.
But it still is. They still have culture though, because we're talking in general about the whole conversation is culture.
Yes, you see that are the things we don't understand what culture is. You know, for me, when I came to Australia, and that was 1999, everybody asking me, "Oh, what kind of food do you eat back home?" And always, every time you used to puzzle me, people keep asking me, "What do you used to eat in Africa?" And I used to eat the same thing, the same food, rice, potato, beans, everything's there. When I go to the market here, I see the same thing.
As you see back home.
I see back home, but they keep asking what to think there. Even when you say maybe when the way we cook ugali is just flour.
It's just flour.
It's just maize flour.
Yeah.
Here they have maize flour.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, so I used to wonder what people keep thinking. Only it's just ingredient you can put in.
Yeah.
But it's the same food, our behavior.
The ideas.
It's the same. You go to find people, white people behave like Africa. Yes. But even when I consider what was culture they have?
Australian culture. Going to the beach, having barbecues, surfing.
Yes, that is behavior. That is activities.
Yeah, but that's what is the definition? The definition of culture is the ideas, customs, and social behavior of a particular people or society. So behavior is going out to swim. Going to the beach, barbecues.
So now African they don't do that.
I don't like. For example, do we like going to the beach?
No.
Exactly. So like.
That's
that's culture.
Most African communities not allowed to accept gay. Say, oh, this is not our culture. What does it mean? What does to do with culture if somebody decided to live the way they feel?
But that's like what you said. Can we evolve as culture? And I think that's part of the conversations I think that we need to have is like how it was back in the days is not how it is now. So there's certain aspects within our culture that we need to change.
We need to put as community together. And this is something I remember I used to do when I used to drive you, taking you to soccer in Africa. I used to have Congolese music. When I take you to training with music is loud, and as soon we go to the field, you see your friends there, everybody try to turn the volume down.
Even like sometimes in school when mom used to pack lunches, like when I had chicken, you know me, the way I eat chicken, I'm like, but like I'm in school and I'm hesitant. I'm looking at the chicken and I'm just like, man, like, I just be all over this thing.
Yes,
pause.
You have drumstick.
You have, you know what I'm saying?
And
I'm just like,
sauce, everything's there.
But
everybody cutting sandwich. So does this sandwich is a culture?
But like I'll speak from my experience. When I was doing that is because I wanted to, like, you have that need to fit in or you don't want to be different. Like now when I think about it, I'm like, damn, like I wish I would have just, but back then, like you said, like we're going to football and the music and it's just like, that's the only, they've never even heard that type of music before. So and the image that they have of Africa. So you kind of get that feeling of like, let me maybe diminish my culture a little bit, just to fit in. So I think that has its aspect too.
But you see, when you grow, you have to come back to your culture. Everything food you didn't eat now, you can eat because you're growing up. But when you are younger in school, especially primary, parents, they should be free to let the kids to go with the community.
Like as I said, when I look back, I wish like I embraced my culture more when I was in school. When I was out, there wasn't too many black people. I think like, for example, in London, there's so many black kids, everyone can relate. But here in Australia, for a lot of immigrants where it's like you're kind of the odd one out, you want to maybe diminish your culture a little bit just to not feel weird or to be different. You know what I mean? But I definitely think like even young kids, man, like embrace your culture. Like you're Italian, you're, Slovakian, whatever, embrace your culture. Like don't feel that need to be free as well. Disciplining your kids, like beating children. Would you say that's part of the culture?
Yes, we still embrace that. To beat a child, you make a child change, you make a child grow. No, that is lie. So when you beat a child with your anger, not to discipline. Discipline and beating is totally different. So when you beat it's the angry because you don't get a response.
Okay, but hold on. So I'll give you again. When we used to go, if I got in trouble from school, we would get the belt. Would you say that was you would, because we got in trouble at school, so it's like you have to face your consequences for your actions.
Yes.
So I'm gonna,
But what I'm saying is, so is it matching what you did to school and to be belted? No, it doesn't match. You know, even sometimes the teacher could say, okay, this kid did this kid, just to report. When they inform us what you did for you today, as we think you did wrong, but maybe the teacher was not meaning you did wrong, but for us to come, it's just to bear because the teacher says something like that.
Because they do it in schools over there, like back home in in Kenya.
Back home, yes,
they beat them.
Yes, see, that's wrong. I know this. It's anger from the parents.
It's that anger, like
yes,
boom.
That anger. Me, I remember when I used to be in school. I used to be beaten because I couldn't be able to do my multiplication. Yeah.
They would beat you for getting.
And for me, I couldn't even remember anything. They used to be beaten every time.
So wait, so you like if you get an answer wrong,
straight away.
Oh in school.
In school, the teacher beat you.
What would they use to beat you?
They used to have like the special stick.
Yeah. You get, you know that's how mom used to teach me. We used to sit by the table. She'll be like, Eve, what? And see me, I'm panicking. I'm like, no, I don't. My ears ringing because she's already slapped me like 3 times, and I'm like,
So at least this thing doesn't happen anymore because that is what we call
culture. It's part of our culture, yeah. Okay, but
that is culture.
But here's for me as I'm 26 years old now. My experience I'd speak on it. I think I got positives out of being beaten in terms of like I knew if I was ill-disciplined, like if I was doing the wrong thing, there's consequences to my actions. That's one part of it. Like I always felt like, you know what, if I get belted, it's because I did something wrong, and in life you do bad things or you make a decision, there's consequences to that action. So that's one thing as I am old now, appreciate about being beaten. If I say, it gave us that respect to not cross certain boundaries, but for some people it doesn't work. But for me, I think it was more powerful when you'd say, I'd come home, I'll never forget, I was in primary school, you said, Eve, you're not going to training. That hurt more than you could ever beat me. You said, Eve, you're not going to training. You didn't even beat me. But for me, I don't even remember getting in trouble after that.
See, that was it. So that was it. Look, the beating, it's the anger from the parents, not for the correcting what is something. There's other communities which they do differently, but the discipline is still there.
It's still there.
Yeah, so that's why you want to look out. This kid has never been beaten by him to be disciplined. But the way they're talking, the way to take away something that they previously totally different. And then I say, why do we call culture when we're beating a child? Sometimes now you make young people sometimes lose a bit confident themselves. See, that's another distraction. When you're being beaten, when you're young, what you go to do to your kids? You're going to do the same thing.
Beat them, yep.
So
yep.
See, that is distraction.
And some kids, they just get like, they'll do something wrong and they'll just be, I'll just get beaten. They get used to becoming beaten, and their behaviors don't change. That person can still be doing the same thing.
Kids who have energy do not go to stop because they're beat. They go to continue to be kids. They should be doing something like that. So that was you say you'll be beaten and then you change. It's a fear.
It's a fear.
So what's sort of fear from the kids to work? Does the kids need to live in fear? So that's another question. Does it really need to be in fear? Does it need to be, if you go home, you are scared because you didn't get the marks, you did things there.
And you'll be beaten.
When you come home, you should become
to love.
Marks in the school is not going to determine your future or your life.
Facts. More, do you need to fear someone to respect them? That beating, making that child fearful of you, they're going to respect you as, but no, like fear, like respect is not, because you see a lot of people, they'll respect an authority or they respect their father or mother without even being beaten.
So So that.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed our first podcast episode. Now guys, we got a lot more content on the way. Great interviews with regular people. You know, I think our experiences can add value. How can we empower our own community? So I hope you guys enjoyed our first podcast episode. We got a lot more content on the way. You know, great interviews. My mom is the next guest, and I think that is an episode you guys are really going to resonate with. We got part 2 with my dad and this conversation that you guys have just seen coming out very soon as well. Stay up to tune. Make sure to subscribe to that channel. Very important. Subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and also subscribe to my main channel, Eve Rubasha. We're growing more, guys. It's all about empowering and giving back to our people. So I love you so much, whoever you are, and we'll see you on the next episode. Peace.